Good morning. I'm Gail Anderson, and this is Mentoring Moments for Moms. Glad to have you joining us, and if you are watching us on replay, thank you. I'm glad you're taking the time to catch up on what we're doing. If you've been on recently, hi there, Livy. It's something that we've been working on is the top 10 things I would do as a mom. Oh, thank you for that great comment. I appreciate it. If you guys like what we're talking about today, make sure you tap on the screen, give me some hearts. Let me know you enjoy what we're talking about. The last few days, we talked about the top thing, and that is being present for my children. You can always go back and view that on YouTube if you search for Mentoring Moments for Moms, or you can also go in my profile and find the link. So number one of the top 10 things was being present for my children. Good morning, Stephanie. Glad to see you. The second thing was to speak encouraging words to and over my children, and that to me is a real key. Speaking things to your kids is actually changing how they feel about themselves and how they develop as a person. And then speaking things over them really affects how I feel about them and how I see them. So that's important. But today we're going to talk about having schedules for my children. That is number 3 in the top 10 things that I would do again as a mom. When I had my firstborn, I was not around family. I didn't have my mom or my mother-in-law to help me navigate being a new mom. And even though I had taken care of kids forever, babysat all my life, had 4 younger brothers and sisters, took care of them all the time, still I was having a rough time as a mom. And one of the things I did was not have schedules. I allowed my firstborn to pretty much run me around. When he wanted to nurse, we nursed. When he wanted to sleep, he'd sleep. If it sounded like he was up, he was up. And it was pretty crazy. He snacked all day long with nursing, and he catnapped all day long. And I was pretty much run by him. Even getting up during the middle of the night, he was doing that till he was 9 months old. Till I realized, hey, I've got to be able to do something different. So when I had my second-born, I had the privilege of getting some advice from another gal who actually had twins and seemed to have her life all together. And she recommended this book for me, My First 300 Babies. What this book did for me is it gave me the confidence that I could decide what was best for my baby, that I could actually set up a schedule. And of course, with babies, that's the way to start it. I didn't know what my child needed, but this book gave me the confidence. It gave some structure about how much sleep they needed, about how much they should be nursing during the day, and it gave me the confidence that no matter what my baby did, I could decide what was best and try and get him to flow in that schedule. So that gave me a framework of what to expect at the different ages of a baby. So that kind of carried through to when my kids were toddlers, preschoolers, children, and it helped so much. Can I get my follow back, please? Oh, yes, so sorry, I will do that. Setting the schedule is important, but yes, it can be difficult. But you know, even something as simple as their sleep time should be an important thing to establish. Okay, if they need a certain amount of sleep, then we need to be able to get them to where they go to bed at a certain time and they stay in bed till a certain time, things like that. Waking and sleeping are important things to schedule. Also meals. You know, if you are allowing your kids to snack all day long, then probably they're not going to eat well enough at a meal. And that's what I was finding with nursing. If my baby was snacking every hour or so, then what happened is he was hardly doing anything at all as far as taking enough food for an actual meal. So we had to stretch out those times in between so that he would take more, so that he would have enough that it would actually carry him another 4 hours or whatever. But there are lots of benefits of routines and schedules. Number one, for me, it helped me to know what to expect. It also helped me to understand what was going on with my child, know what to expect. I knew when I could have time to myself. It also knows the child what to expect. And you know what? When they are in a routine, they're in a flow, they don't argue as much. They know, okay, we get up, we do this, we do this, we go to bed, and they don't argue if the routine is consistent. So you've got, it's better for you, you know what to expect of your child. And then if you need to actually change that routine for certain days, you at least have a basis to go from, and then you can get back to that routine later. Now, how many of you actually have schedules for your kids? And do you like it? And what things do you think are important to actually schedule with your kids? What helps you? I believe, you know, the eating thing should be a schedule, and of course, waking up and bedtime. You know, all of life operates on a schedule. As you get older, you know, kids are going to school, that's on a schedule. When you get a job, that's on a schedule. So all of life operates that way. And if we want to actually help our kids to be able to operate well in life as adults, then we need to start training them with that as kids. If you're liking what I'm talking about, I'd love for you to share this broadcast. Just swipe to the right and you can share it. You can also tap on your screen, give me some hearts. That would be excellent. But I want to hear from you guys today. Do you like scheduling for your kids? What do you schedule for your kids? What things that are scheduled do you find extremely helpful? Now, way back when I started my scopes in March, one of my first ones was on a morning routine for the kids. And that's one of the things that I definitely recommend because it worked well for our kids. We had 5 things that we had them do in the morning. I actually made a picture of a hand, and each finger on your hand was representative of one of the 5 things that they had to do. That way it could help them to remember. So I had a picture with it written out, or pictures if they're younger so they could see. The first one was to make their bed. The next one was to eat breakfast. And at breakfast we always had a little devotional, so we would say number 2 was breakfast and Bible time. Number 3 is to, oh no, sorry, I got it wrong. First thing was to make your bed. Second thing was to get dressed. Third thing, oh, Sid Mama, thank you. You've been doing those 5 things since that scope. Awesome. It's been amazing. Okay, make bed, get dressed, breakfast, and of course our devotional time, and then wash your hands and face, brush your teeth and hair. So that gave us the 5 things to do. And you know what? That keeps you as a mom from having to say, okay, did you do this? Did you do this? Did you do this? It helps them to have a flow. It helps them to start to be responsible. And then even as far as checking with them, just say, okay, have you done your 5 things? And they can go through, oops, I got to go do this, Mom. It's a great way to build in a schedule and get your kids to start doing that. The thing that's nice about a schedule too is it flows from one thing to the next. It helps them to know what to do. So there's a process to getting ready for the day. There's an order to getting ready for the day. And this is a way that we can establish that with our kids. Hey, I haven't heard anybody. Do you like schedules with your kids? How do you feel about schedules? Do you think it helps your kids? I'm talking about my experience with my 5 and how helpful I thought it was. Now, granted, you can change that schedule anytime you want. You can alter for the seasons. You can alter for during the school year and then during the summer. You can change just for a day. You can change for vacation. But you always have that basic thing to get back to after you've broken from that routine or that schedule to do something special for the day. My blog this week was about keeping your kids busy this summer, and if you haven't followed our blog, that is at KirbyAnderson.com, and the link is in my profile. So keeping your kids busy, one of the things I have written down as part of what you should do is have a schedule or a routine. You know, summer, when the kids are not going to school, things just kind of fall apart and they just get lethargic and they don't do much. So I recommend still having some sort of a schedule to what's going on in the summer, and lots of fun planned in, lots of things where you break from the schedule and go to a theme park all day, but still you have that schedule to get back to. So for summer in this blog, I suggested a normal time to get up, a normal process of what's being done in the morning or what daily chores or responsibilities they have. That's great. Just because your kids aren't going to school doesn't mean that they don't do anything else around the house to help. They should be able to do a little bit more now that it's summertime. They should have some time to read or to work on a hobby or practice an instrument. Stephanie, summer schedule that includes some schoolwork. Excellent. Yes, don't stress about it. But when you have a normal day where you're home for the day, go ahead and do that. Now, as an educator and a homeschooler, I felt like it was important during the summer for the kids to have reading. I also like to be able to give them a little bit of work in math and spelling so that during the summer their brains didn't go completely to mush. And that worked out wonderfully for me. Actually, we did it mostly on Sundays because we had to get to church real early because my husband was pastoring. So that would be the day that they would bring some work and do that work at church while he and I were preparing for service. So I found there was much less of forgetfulness over the summer if we kept up on just those couple of things, just enough to keep their brain active. Time to read, do a hobby, practice an instrument. Actually, in this blog I wrote on Wednesday, I talked about them actually sitting down and setting some goals for the summer. Do they have a hobby that they want to work on? Is there something else they'd like to explore, a certain place they'd like to go? Maybe they want to go to Big Splash, the water park, once a week. Well, those are things that you can plan in as a mom and meet some of the goals and desires that your kids have for the summer, depending on their ages, of course. Special activities for the week during the summer make the summer fly by. Planning picnics, planning dates at the park with other friends, going swimming, going to an amusement park, being able to visit some of the sites in your city, maybe even a museum if it's interesting enough, or a kids museum is a great thing to do. But your kids do need some sort of schedule in the summer, and they do need some fun things to do. So anyway, that's number 3, have schedules for my children. I also want to remind you that what I talked about the other day was in making your decisions about your day and what you're doing for your day, that you consider what would a great mom do, WWGMD. Remind yourself of that. What would a great mom do this week with her kids? What would a great mom do right now on this rainy day? And keep making those choices like a great mom would so that you can be a great mom and be happy with how you have mothered your kids. So have a wonderful day and a great weekend and enjoy the adventure of motherhood.